Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Golden Kamuy, the final season, episode number 6 reaction. Right, the previous episode we got to see Surumi, or we understood that Surumi might have something different underneath him going on, the reason behind why he is doing all of this. He said, to everyone that he's doing it so that his comrades can, lie in Japan's soil. However, that might not be 100% true. He might actually be doing it for his wife and child. And like he came directly face to face across Sofia and Ashiripa, and he's carrying his wife and child's bones. All those things are happening, but at the same time, like I said, this is Surumi we're talking about. I don't trust that man in any way or form, like not in that way, but trust as if, like, I feel like he's manipulating people every second of his life and every second of his time. So this might again be like a whole setup. So unless and until the show, like the story ends, and I'm not like trusting this man, because we've seen what he can do, the way he gaslights people and does, like all these things. Let's wait and see. And then we had like a little bit of how we got to see how Wilk changed after Ashripa was born and all that, and he all like gave up his original goal. All these things we are seeing. Right, so let's see what happens in today's episode. Let's get started. Now, obviously my channel was affected, so I'm not taking any more risks. Subtitles won't be provided. I will provide the timer over here. Sync the original video to the timer and watch alongside my reaction. So yeah, let's get started. Here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Hmm. Damn. Yeah. Yeah, so he really, like, what can I say? He really want. That smile. Oh boy. The cause of everything. Damn, what a title. Oh, so good. First to find that old. Hmm. Couldn't agree with how they do things. Damn. Oh god. I Another rebellion. Hmm. Well, that's never possible whenever it's related to gold or wealth. Ah, damn. Wilk? Damn. Everyone, as I say, everyone has like the different way and different cultures. Yeah, here we go. Ah, there is. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Well. Oh boy. Well, he will remember. Oh. Oh, here we go. Well, immediately struck. Oh boy, this is a poison arrow. Good lord. He just planted that over there in their heads. God damn. Well, it's this is like his neighborhood. Oh damn. Right. So did right. Oh damn. Yeah. Who? So what happened? Ah, yes. I thought it would be something like that. Yeah. Like I said, it. That makes sense. Nah, that's fake. As oh, that's what he did. Okay. I thought he took someone else's head out and put the scar over the. Oh damn, that's why his face doesn't have skin. Okay, makes sense. The one who's alive, I'm guessing. Oh, he. Alright, you need. Okay, this guy. Yeah, I was gonna say they swapped it. Right. Yeah. Crazy. I am. Too. Well, bruh. Yeah. Technically lying. Bruh, two master manipulators going against each other. Wilk and Surumi. Yeah. Hmm. Almost dead. Even more than that. Come on. So he's been bleeding all along while running. Like, how the hell? Oh my god. Hmm. Remember me? Oh, he also recognized him. Yep. Bruh. Yeah, I'm. Oh god. He's like sitting duck over here. No cover, nothing. Just. Oh no. Oh, did he like surrender himself or something? Oh damn. Oh. And I did it. Arrest me. Yeah, makes sense. He surrendered himself so that he could go in their protection. So that Surumi couldn't get him. Right, everything makes sense now. Right. Hmm. So it's like Wilk is alive. Hmm. Hmm. Yep. Using the gold for the Russian. Right. Damn. Well, just he's just having a story time with them. Hmm. The gold. Yeah. Damn. So it's the gold. The gold is all the reason. Yeah, I knew it, obviously. Hmm. He's like, yeah, what about my God damn. I said this. I was like, they're drawing a parallel between these two. Oh my god. Yeah? What? My life? Oh, bullet. Bro! Okay, this guy's crazy. Well, oh, right. Yeah, yeah, I forgot about that. Oh, no, wait. Well, Wilk? Right. So, but wait, why? I don't think he's. I don't think he's just gonna make a mistake of just miss shooting. Oh, damn. Yeah, you put it. Okay. Right. Nah, nah, man. This guy is. I cannot believe what I'm seeing. Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, what else would this be? Oh, damn. I'm still kind of not believing this guy because this is Surumi we're talking about. I feel like he's pulling some kind of wool over us. Okay, here we go. That is true. So, Right. So it's both. Like he didn't lie in any of the. Right. There you go. There you go. Or is he just saying this because he knows that they're eavesdropping? I don't trust this man, like I said. But I think he's actually genuinely saying it from the bottom of his heart. Those who he can choose a future for both Ainu and Japanese. Yeah, after you traumatize her, I don't think she's in that kind of state of mind, bro. Oh lord, here we go. Hey! What the hell? I was gonna say, just go and find Sugimoto or something. That's all you want to do. He's gone. um, the federal government, Post Imperial Russia. Ah, yeah, I guess. Yeah, bring an immigrant from the outside. Yeah. So okay, it's like those two plans won't work. So you guys are plans. Hmm. Interesting. Right. States of. Ah. They also never. Yeah, I was gonna say they also never was able to come together. It was only because of Wilk that they were being held together. Oh, did not. Yeah, polluted their rivers and made them starve. Right. Yeah. I was gonna say Golden Kamuy. Yeah. Isn't an evil god that brings disasters to the Ainu? Okay. The Golden Kamuy. Oh no, he's gonna say it. Yo! Ah, man, this guy. Okay, I know what you're doing, Surumi. This guy. You see, like this is the way he operates. You see how at the very end, like he at first, the way he kind of manipulates people is at first he kind of like you saw like today's whole episode was dialogue. He was talking about the past and all these things. Like first he makes like a whole story, not story. These are like real, like this is what happened, like in actual reality. He's just saying that. But the way he says that is very important here, is because you can see he makes the stage like obviously I think he was not lying in any of these like conversation that they had today, but it is important to know how and when to, and exactly how to construct your words, how to say it. And like, and you can be telling, like you're like you can be telling that the whole thing is like a truth thing, like the whole like conversation that they had is can be truth. But at the same time, you can kind of like position it, and kind of the way you speak about it, you can make it in such a way that you make the people, I don't know, like follow you, like kind of like, okay, let me break this up first. First thing that you can see Sunumi did is talk about obviously Wilk. And as he said, let me tell you the story about what happened to the Ainu. Everything he said, that I'm assuming he's not telling a lie. Everything was truth. So he said what exactly happened, how they fought against each other, how Surumi like put that poison arrow, as he says, into them, which made them like fight amongst each other. Wilk kind of realized someone is following me from my past, and then like he took out his like own skin, and all those things. And then they went, and then Wilk like surrendered, uh, so that he could gain protection from Surumi. All those things, those were the truth. He kind of set up the stage by saying exactly what happened, and then he shifts to why exactly he did that, which he kind of slowly like brings up about his wife and his child, and about how like how much he cared for them and all that, and how Wilk apparently was the one who shot them. Now this is the part which I feel like there might be something amiss here. Like either, I don't know, like I'm not believing this statement unless and until it is somehow confirmed that yeah, it was Wilk who shot those two. Or was it already confirmed before in the previous season? I just forgot. Let me know in the comments. Either way, I feel like there's a possibility Surumi might be mistaken here, or he is lying here. But then again, I don't think he would lie in a situation which involves his wife and child, because of how much he cares about them, especially something about their death. So I don't know. I'm still skeptical about this one, this whole that bullet thing of Wilk. Like, because my question is, why the hell would Wilk shoot them? I don't understand. Like, did he miss shot them? Like, did he like miss the shot? But it's Wilk we're talking about. I don't think he's gonna miss a shot that bad and kill both his wife and child. So I don't understand this part. I'm still a little bit skeptical, but let's wait and see. Either way, yeah, where was I? So he talks about all of that, talks about how like he doesn't directly say that this is revenge, but he kind of says that, oh yeah, this is what started all of this, and that's why I kind of like I went to Wilk and decided to hunt him down, all these things he kind of says. Now this is the part, like at first he was telling facts. This is the part where he talks about his own situation, and he obviously makes Ashripa and Sophia understand the reason, the biggest reason why, like all of this, why he's doing this, like his wife and child, about how this might be like a revenge thing that he's going for, trying to hunt down Wilk and destroy their everything, you know so now at this point, obviously Ashipa, you could see how like devastated she was. Like she literally like learned from some other person that apparently her father killed a, a lady and her child, and the husband of the lady is now doing all of this. to them. So she doesn't know exactly what to feel in this situation. Like, she understands that what his her father did was wrong, and now the man who was affected the most by that is literally in front of them, telling them how he almost did the same to them and like completely destroyed them from the inside. So like, Ashripa cannot really like blame Surumi in this situation, because she realizes that what started was because of Wilk. This whole, like, that it started with the death of his wife and child. So like, and she's also feeling guilty on behalf of, and again, all these things. Same with Sophia as well. Sophia was also there. Sophia, if you remember, Sophia got very attached to the child, you know, and realizing that Wilk did that, she also doesn't know. She was devastated as well. So here he brings up his own reasons and motives and everything. Then he suddenly shifts gear and talks about how he's not doing this for his revenge. He's doing this for everything: his wife, his child, his comrades who are lying. Now, I think I do believe that he's not lying here. But what I'm trying to say here is that I'm not saying that he's lying or he's doing, like, like he's like kind of, what can I say? Like, just straight up lying to get through this situation. I don't think he's lying at all. But what I'm trying to highlight here is the way he's arranging all these things and the way he's kind of highlighting this in such a way that it makes you kind of, I don't know, like, attracted to the way you're kind of like explaining this and kind of look up to you. Like, this is what Surumi does. Like, he is a great speaker, and he's such a great speaker that he changes everything. That, like, I don't think he lies that much, maybe like small one or two lies here and there, but the way he speaks truth is like honey to your ears. It attracts you to look up to him, as to like, wow, what a great person you are, you know and I respect him extremely for that. Like, he's a master manipulator, and like I said, he's not saying any truths or anything. Everything he's saying, any lies or anything, everything he's saying is the truth. But the way he's arranging his words is what is important here. And the way he's kind of like telling a story here. So, now after saying that, like, the fact that, oh, I'm not only doing this for my revenge, this is for everyone, my comrades and everything, like, I think he genuinely means that. He's not lying here as well. But the way he kind of constructed that sentence in a way that people outside eavesdropping, those two as well, Tsukishima and Koito, you know they were also like, yes, you know like, thank you, like, thank you for like keeping our trust. Because you can see Tsukishima was ready to pull the trigger. I was like, yeah, if you in any time, if you say that I did this for my only for my revenge, I'm going to like break in and I'm just going to shoot you. Now, I don't think he would have done it like that, but he would have been like, yeah, I'm going to kill you. But because he said this in this situation, in like this, in this way, he constructed the whole thing. This, he was like, yeah. So that's that. Now, this doesn't end here. He keeps spinning the tale, and he talks about everything that happened from that point onwards. Like, what's his name? Wilk surrendering himself and everything, talking about like Wilk's uh, bullet being the one that killed his wife and daughter, and all these things. Then he brings out Wilk's face, puts it on, and I don't know what that was. He makes a whole like I don't know, like, oh, like, look at me, I'm Wilk, and he was like acting like in a deranged manner over there. But that's that. Then after that, he talks about what he's going to have. Now again, he's bringing up facts. So this is what he does. He brings up facts. He talks about, like, using those facts, like, he talks about what his plan is and what he wants to do with it. And then he kind of establishes how what he's doing is something that is going to benefit everyone. you know Now, again, like that first part is over. Now it's the second part of, I wouldn't call it manipulation, but at the same time, he's such a damn good speaker that everything that he says seems like manipulation, even if it isn't. But again, I would say this is also a slight manipulation because what he does after this is very interesting. He again brings up facts. He talks about what would happen if Japan falls under, like, because, Hijikata, then we have Sophia and her group. Each of them, what they want for Hokkaido and all that is going to some way or the other destroy the land. Okay, I'm going to read this part because this part is important. Okay, the Far Eastern Federation that Kiroranke Sofia and the revolutionaries are planning will likely be able to make a federal government on the continent. Yeah, but if it falls to Imperial Russia, Hokkaido will be taken by Russia. So that's that. End of like everything, is done for. So that will not work. But Wilk and Hijikata, Toshizo's Ezo Republic, what about that? If they want it to be a powerful nation, they'll have to bring in immigrants from the outside. It'll likely be many of those migrants will be enemies of Japan. Not speaking of discrimination, simply probabilities. So, it won't work. Then he says what he wants. Hokkaido should be ruled by those who have it and join it with Japan. Now, like I said, he talks about facts. He talks about what might happen if, Hijikata's group does this, if Sophia's group does this. It's not going to work out. Then he brings up his proposition, which is what will happen if I, am in control here. I will make sure Hokkaido is ruled by those who live in Japan. And he says it should go back to the people who loves this homeland from the bottom of their heart, not like other people doing bringing in other people. And it's not going to work out. A mixture like that is not going to work out, as he says. At least in this situation, like sometimes there's a possibility Russia might take control, then there's a possibility they might have infighting and destroy the whole thing in themselves. So what I want is the people who live in the land, who love their homeland, them to be in control over here, because that will be the best. The Japanese must come together to survive. Far Eastern Federation, Ezo Republic are simply not possible. Right. So here ends his fact. This is the part where he talks about facts and what might happen, what might not happen, what he wants. He then brings up what he wants to do. Like I said, he first brings up facts, then he tells what he wants to do and what his whole outlook is on this. He did that for the previous part as well. He talks about facts, then he talks about his involvement, and then he talks about like a better what how his plan is part of a grander goal, and which is better for everyone. Here he does that same thing again. Talks about facts, talks about what he wants to do and how his involvement in this. And here at the end, what he adds to this is that, oh, Ashripa, by the way, up until now he was talking about Wilk in a very, you could say in a kind of a negative manner, in a whole not negative, I would say. Again, what this guy does is not directly directly say bad or good. He just kind of implies it and makes people confused. So he never directly goes against something or directly he's just someone like that. So he doesn't directly didn't say anything negative about Will. He was like, oh, it's all just part of what happened. And but here he says that, oh, by the way, he brings up the coin first and he talks about how the shades are different and how it never worked out between them. It's not mixing. And then he's like, you know what, Ashripa, among the Ainu tools you never see gold, right? That means you guys don't need gold to survive. What happened is not because of Wilt. I was kind of saying this at the very beginning, not very beginning, but at the middle part. I was like, it's because of the gold. The gold is the main problem here. And Surumi literally says the same thing in the end. He says yeah, it's not Wilk, your father is not at fault here. And here, like I said, again, he might be from the bottom of his heart really thinking this. But the way he kind of like constructs this sentence and the way he kind of arranges it makes us kind of look at him and be like, yeah, this is some manipulation going on. But he's genuinely meaning. I'm pretty sure he genuinely means it. So now what he's doing here is, or how this kind of like sounds like to Ashripa, is like, oh, by the way, your father did all of this, killed my wife, killed my daughter, my child, and all that. Uh, but I forgive him because it's not his fault. It's the gold, you know. So salvation, I guess you could say. Up until now, Ashripa was feeling guilty on behalf of her father. She didn't know what to. Same with Sophia as well. I'm bringing up Ashripa because she's her daughter, but at the same time, you need to remember that Sophia is also in a similar mindset as Ashripa, and she's also like, because she was also like good friend with Will, and she was very deeply attached with Surumi's child as well. So Sophia is also feeling guilty in all these situations. And now Surumi drops this whole thing. Like, oh, by the way, I don't think Wilk is at a fault at all. Yeah, it is the gold. Like, you see how the gold was never needed for you guys. You guys never had any golden tools or anything. You guys were living your lives perfectly. And now, like, what gold did to you guys is this. Like, this made like this whole like battle between you guys. This whole like conflict it created. The water which got polluted, you guys lost your food, and like so much like damage it did. So how you guys talk about Kamui or God in each and everything. I think gold also has a Kamui, and it's an evil Kamui. So here we go. Where's that part? Right, here we go. If there is a Kamui for gold, then isn't it an evil god that brings disaster to the Ainu? Right. One that brings terrible death to all who touch it. One more ugly and violent than any other, the Golden Kamui. Now, I love the way he says all of this, because technically he's right, but at the same time, as you can see, this is going to make Ashripa kind of like be like, yeah, we don't need that gold, and kind of listen to Surumi, what he's saying. So technically he succeeded in what he wanted to do. He wanted to convince Ashripa, and and convincing Ashripa means convincing all the Ainu in a way, you could say, kind of like people who are like behind Ashripa. It also means convincing Sugimoto, who is also one of the biggest threats of Tsurumi. Like, you can see at the end the way Ashripa's face kind of changes here, and when he says like, oh, your father's not at fault, it's the gold. The gold, if there's a Kamui within the gold, then that Kamui within the gold is an evil Kamui, the golden Kamui, like that kind of thing. And Ashripa's like, you're not wrong. Obviously she doesn't say that, but that's what her face says. At least that's what I could understand, the way her face kind of controlled her over there. So yeah, at the end of the day, today's episode was a whole story, I guess you could say, like very meticulously and carefully crafted. Not crafted. Crafted is the wrong way. Arranged, I would say, because like I said, crafted would mean he's lying. He's not lying. Everything that he said in today's video episode, I think everything was the truth, except that one part, like I said, with the bullet thing with Wilk. I feel a little bit suspicious about that information, but I might be wrong. Maybe he's also telling the truth over there, or maybe he just doesn't know. I don't know, but that part is a little bit weird, because like I said, what this is Wilk we're talking about. Before Ashripa was born, I wouldn't be surprised if he actually shot them, the wife and the child. I actually wouldn't be surprised, because how Wilk was before. He never bat an eyelid, or like if there's something that he wanted and it meant that he had to do stuff like this, he wouldn't bat an eyelid to do that. So yeah, anyways, but like I said, he a very meticulously and carefully arranged properly arranged and properly explained story, not story again, these are all facts, uh, that he did here, and how this I guess you could say this made Ashripa not convinced, but she's now like listening to Surumi, and she's like, because up until now, before she wasn't even ready to listen to Surumi, and now Surumi throughout this episode like spoke in such a well manner and arranged the story and explained it to them in such a way, and now like the way Ashripa and Sophia is looking at the gold and what is going on has definitely changed. They're probably thinking, yes, what Surumi is saying is the right way. You know what? I also think it is the right way because, honestly speaking, I think he is also right here. Like at the because, like yeah, like what he wants to do here is, if whatever if everything he's saying is the truth, he wants, like like the Japan, the people who loves this place, to be the one in control, you know, and he wants his wife, his child, his comrades to lay in Japan's soil. What like what he said about Hijikata's plan and Sophia's group's plan is also true. Probably it won't work the way they envision it to be. He's not saying that those are wrong. He's saying that it probably won't work in the long run. Yeah. But like I said, then again, maybe I'm also being manipulated. Who knows? Because genuinely thinking about this, I do think like out of all the paths that we can see, Sumi's path is the best one for now. But like I said, maybe I'm also being manipulated. That's probably Ashripa and Sophia are also thinking in the same way. Yeah. Like the thing about this guy is, like, we have seen what he can do with like situations, like completely um things that, like for example with the whole backstory of Koito Tsukishima, everything had something that Surumi did in the background that made them ally and be loyal to him, you know. So I know what this man is capable of. So I'm thinking maybe he's doing the same thing here in today's episode as well. Right. But at the same time, I also think that even if he's doing it, might as well go along with it. Because this seems like the best idea for now. That's what I'm thinking. If they can bring up another better plan or idea which will cater more towards Ashripa and Sugimoto, then I will definitely switch to that plan. But for now, at least, this is what I'm thinking. I don't know. Well, you know what? Let's wait and see. Either way, that was a fantastic episode. Like I said, this is definitely one of the best episodes because again, I feel like this show has so many episodes that I really love, and all of them have Surumi in it. Like freaking this guy just speaking and like telling us a story in such a way that, yeah, like this is crazy. Oh my god. Now, I've been talking about Sumi from the very beginning. Let's talk about a few other things. For example, Wilk. They kind of showed how Wilk was also. You can see like Wilk was also in a very similar situation to Surumi. Like their lives kind of went in parallel, where both of them were in a secret disguise. Both of them settled down as a way for it to be like a cover up for them, and then both of them ended up really caring for their family. The same thing. It's the same damn story. Wilk also had the same thing. Surumi also talks about it here, like how he knew that his wife probably knew about his identity, but he genuinely cared about his wife and child by the end of it. You know. So yeah. So Surumi and Wilk lived almost the same lives, and they're almost like the same type of character, you could say. Also, the way Wilk also kind of had a way with his words. You can see how this group of people, they had like different ideologies, different culture, and they were like almost fighting against each other. And then Wilk was like, wait guys, and he talks about he's knowledgeable. As they say, ignorance breeds discrimination, which is also very much true. This is one of the like biggest truths of this world. ignorance breeds discrimination. Like you discriminate amongst people because you don't know about them. You have false information, or you are basing everything based on something that someone said. This is so much true in, especially in the modern times, like the world nowadays with social media and everything. You can see this, all of these like things, discrimination and everything, so much on the social media. you know like it's like filled with it. And if you go to the deep rooted problem behind it, the crux of it, it's ignorance. And that's what they said. And this is where Will kind of shows how he changed. He's like, when they were talking about something like, and then, oh, you do this, and they're like beating up against each other about their own culture and everything. Wilk was like, oh, this is because it's this. This is the information behind this. This is why they do it. This and that. And then everyone's like, damn, like, like, bruh, you convinced me. So that kind of thing. So he's also had a way with words like Surumi. So yeah, they were basically the same person, Wilk and Surumi, you could say. Funny thing you can see here, there's another person who wanted to be so much like Wilk but who was never able to, which was what's his name? Kiraranke, right? Yeah, Kiraranke. The fact that he wanted to understand Wilk so much that he even decided to have a family, but he was like, I was never able to see the answer to what Wilk like explain. Like I said, he like the thing about Kiraranke is like he's like, his situation is just like oh, like you're not the Wilk that I knew. Like he obviously he like looked up to Wilk a lot, you could see. But then when he saw Wilk change and he wasn't able to understand the reason behind this change, he got confused. So he started throwing a tantrum, you could say. He was like, oh, why did you change? And he like almost like beat him up, almost killed him. And then later on at the end he did kill him, as you see. Again, because of the fact that he was never able to get that. He was so obsessed with Wilk that he wanted to understand why Wilk changed. And he realized that, oh, Wilk changed because he had a family. Let me have a family, and I need family as well. And he did that, and he never understood. You know why he never understood? Because he was not trying to understand it. He was just trying to copy Wilk. He was copying Wilk. He was trying to understand Wilk. He was not trying to understand what he wants, or what would bring him like satisfaction or whatever. Wilk was able to understand that. Wilk was able to truly experience, I guess you could say, peace, or what is important in his life, that like which later shifted to Ashripa. His most important person became Ashripa. That is why it changed. While Kiroranke, he never he didn't marry because he wanted to, or because he I guess Wilk also didn't marry because he wanted to. He got married because it was like a cover, but it changed later on. But still, what I'm saying is like Kyoranki was just trying to copy Wilk, trying to understand the answer that he got. He was like, okay, you know what? Like it's like, this is the thing. In exams, when you're a person who has understood the question, you write the answer yourself, and then you have someone from your side who has not studied and done anything, and they're like, all right, let me copy this guy's answer, and he copies the answer. But even after copying the answer, you might get full marks on it, but you'll never understand the reason why in that question you wrote that answer, because you didn't study. You didn't try to understand it. You just copied someone. Copying someone else will not give you the answer to that question. It's just a forgery of it. Yeah, you'll probably get full marks, but that's it. That's where it will end. So he copied Wilk, trying to understand what he understood, but he never understood because he just copied him. That's the thing. And even at the end, when you can see, like, even though he couldn't understand, like, even after, like, all that, he still couldn't understand. He was like, yeah, he changed, I'm going to kill him. And he just killed him at the end. He's like, I'm going to, yeah. So that's the thing with Kiroranke. Again, another unfortunate situation, because he was also, like, so obsessed with Wilk that he made everything in his life, like, about Wilk. At first he looked up to him, and then when he changed, he was like, I don't understand this man. Why did he change? And then he was like, all right, this guy changed. after getting mad. Let me get mad, maybe I'll also get changed. But he changed. Never understood the answer that Wilk got and what made him change, because he changed because he just copied him. And then when he still couldn't understand, he just killed him at the end. So that's Kiroranke. At least that's how I see him. Like that kind of thing. Like I said, an unfortunate person again at the end of the day. You know, right. Now, like I said, I was talking about Wilk. I kind of got like, went on a tangent and talking about Kiroranke. Let's continue talking about Wilk. So Wilk was, like I said, he's very similar to Surumi. Um, at the same way, like when things got crazy, the things that he took his skin off, put it, like kind of tried to fake his death, but obviously Surumi is too damn smart for that. Surumi never believed that he died. Even Kiroranke got kind of tricked over there. But later on, Kiroranke also put two and two together and realized like no Perabo might be Will. But Surumi never got tricked. Okay, Surumi never got tricked. And yeah, so like I was saying, the way he did that is crazy. He like took off his own skin and put it on there, and cut off everyone's like head, took off their skin, put it on different like heads to kind of confuse and all those things. And he kind of did all of that to make like fake his death, because he needed like 7 bodies, as you know, but he wanted to include that old man into them as well. That's why he took off all of their faces and put it on each other, like that. Either way, and as if you remember, he took the old man's face, because what he wanted to do, like how many of them were there? 7, right? The old man was someone who was not accounted for. So what he did is he cut them up, took his own face off, took the old man's face skin, put it with him, and he wanted to fake his death with that skull. So he put his own skin on that skull, and he was like, "Oh, look at me, I'm dead." But the person who's dead actually is that guy, that old man, whose skin is with him. And if you remember, when he got shot in the water, the skin fell to the bottom of the water. And since Surumi ended up getting all the body and everything, he ended up being the one with it. At the end, he took the skin that Wilk had and preserved it. And now today's episode, fast forward, he puts it on himself and traumatizes Ashripa. So yeah, so there you go. And not only it doesn't end there. Like since when Wilk realized that Surumi is still following them, and Wilk goes and surrenders and says that, oh, I killed these guys. These 7 guys, I killed them. And yeah, take me in. Now, we also know the actual truth as to who killed the Ainus. It was not Wilk. It was 2 groups. Since because that poison arrow that Surumi said shot, where he gave that information that, oh, by the way, like Wilk was this before, and then like that guy went to inform it to them, and when he went and informed it to them, it divided the group into 2. One group was like, oh no, Wilk is fine, and then the other group was like, no, Wilk like it's not fine, and they started fighting amongst each other and just killed themselves. That's what happened. That is the truth behind the Ainu's deaths, which is one of the biggest things that we have been wanting to know up until now. Like what happened. There you go. And yeah, and there you go. That was Wilk. Wilk's part of the story. Right. I don't think there's anything else left to discuss today, because yeah, I think I talked about most of the stuff. Surumi's like involvement, Surumi's excellent way of speaking. Is a great speaker, and he's such a great speaker that whenever you listen to him, you're like, yeah, this guy's right. I'm going to follow him, and I'm going to give my life for him. That's what you become. As soon as you listen to him speak for a long amount of time, you get hypnotized. Oh my god. But yeah, and there you go. That's what happened today in this episode. Like, I love the fact that in today's episode you can see there were so many sections where he literally says like, oh, by the way, the reason behind all of this happening with Wilk and the Ainu, it was because of me. I planted that poisoned arrow in the new. Like, he says all of this, but in such a way, and by also kind of talking about his how his life also got affected, then nobody even thinks about that much. Like that, oh yeah, by the way, like, because at the end of the day, like, a lot of these things happen because of the way Surumi kind of, like, like, kind of manipulated a lot of the things. Like, all of those Ainus killing each other, like Wilk, like all of these things happening to Wilk and everything. Yeah. So that's that. And he also kind of highlights the fact that, by the way, this all started because of Wilk. He says that at the very beginning. He doesn't say that at the end, because at the end he was like, oh, by the way, it's not Wilk, it's a goat. But at the middle of today's story, you can see he can't, not directly, but he, in a like a roundabout way, he kind of says like, oh yeah, it's because Wilk and you guys like came here, this happened. My life was destroyed, and all this happened, so I destroyed your guys' life. you know so he kind of implies that up until the very middle. But then, like I said, you cannot go like that. If you want people to follow you, trust you, believe you, you cannot, like, end on a negative note. You need to convert that negative note into something positive at the end. Otherwise nobody will listen to you. And that's what he does at the end. He was like, I Ashriba and Sophia, by the way, it wasn't Wilk who was the reason behind all of this. It was the gold. Gold is the bad thing. Like, there's the golden Kamuy. It's an evil god that is doing all of this. It wasn't Wilk's fault. It was the gold that brought Wilk in over here. So yeah, he makes it into something more presentable and positive at the end. So, right. And there you go. That was it. Fantastic episode. I love this episode. Right. I'll end this video here. Thanks for watching, guys. This was my reaction to episode number 6 of Golden Kamuy, the final season. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button, subscribe if you're new to the channel, or you haven't subscribed. Comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. That is it, guys. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next week with another episode. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.